All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's okay.
I'm just trying to find out if you were trying to tell some young geologist about Mr. Raines, what would you say about him? What was what was he like? What was he?
Um, he was very knowledgeable of the oil business. He was very quiet. He was not boisterous in any way. Great person to work for. And um,
How did he get into the oil business?
well, he and his best friend uh, had a filling station on East Douglas. And he began to talk to the people that stopped there, the men that stopped there on their way downtown, to ask them what they did for a living. And some of them were doctors, some were lawyers, and the biggest majority of them were in the oil business. So him and his friend that had the filling station across the street from him, they got together and decided that they would quit selling gasoline and that they would start buying oil and gas leases.
That was Mr. Williamson. That was Lloyd Williamson.
Yes. And so him and Lloyd went to, I think it was Michigan, and they set up a little office there in the bank, and they sold or got oil and gas leases.
Really, is if you have any idea when Mr. Raines would so-called have hit it big, in other words, where he, when did he have a big office, and I mean, when was there an oil strike or something, or what?
Well, when he and his partner decided, after learning all these black cars going downtown and finding out what they did for a living, and it was mostly people in the oil business, men. And so they decided to close their filling station and go to, I think it was Michigan, either Michigan or I believe it was. And they set up a little office thing in the bank there in Michigan. And the bank allowed them to do that. And the people came in there, and they owned land. And so they got oil and gas leases from those people at $1 an acre. And they made so much money in just a short, like a week, maybe less, that they went back home to Wichita, and they bought a rig to drill wells.
Now, were they buying leases for other companies?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And they bought leases for other companies, yes. And they made, like, I can't remember exactly, but it was so much money that they didn't know what to do with it. And it was, so they decided to buy a rig and start drilling wells. And they didn't know anything about drilling wells, but that's what they did. And
How did they decide where to drill?
That I can't tell you.
But it was in western Kansas?
It was in western Kansas. And they were drilling wells for other people, other businesses.
It looks a little better if you have your arm.
Oh, I'm like...
Yeah, that doesn't look too good. Yeah, I like that. So they made money with oil, buying the oil and gas leases. They got their own rig. Then how many rigs did they end up with?
12 total. And they even expanded drilling wells for other businesses, even into Oklahoma. And finally quit drilling for oil for other people in Oklahoma and expanded to western Kansas.